Alright, so you're going to see a couple of cool things that I'm going to do right now. Full disclosure, I was sent this for free for review, but all of the opinions in this video are my own. Alright, let's do a quick unboxing of the Moza Aircross 2. We have a pretty regular foam case you get with, gimbals in this price range. Open this up, and the first thing we see is an instruction manual, and I'll get back to this, but the instruction manual is actually a little bit useful, so do keep an eye on that. We also have what I see here to be basically a warning to make sure that, you do things properly. I'll go through the gimbal later. I'll go through the accessories first. Here is what I believe to be a follow focus, probably. Anyway, I'll get back to that once I figure out what that thing is. Here we have the L bracket that is going to be used for your camera. Put that back. And then we have a tripod in here, like this. It actually feels pretty good quality. It is metal or aluminum, so that feels pretty good. Underneath here we have, I actually don't know what this is. Let's open it up and see. Oops, bumped the camera. What on earth? Is that a follow focus? I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what this thing does. So I have no idea. So I'm gonna put that back for now. It's just kind of sad. I don't know what half the things are in this package. And then here we have a box of, cables. We have a Fire USB something. It's basically a remote that you can use. And then we have a USB-C to this port again. This port to USB 2. And then we have this cable. And then let's open this up. Those are extra, what do you call that? That's the extra things for, like this guy right here. Okay. And, oh, there's more cables. We have another one, and a USB to USB-C. Okay, let's put all this aside and look at the actual gimbal itself. Okay, let's take a look at the gimbal itself. Starting from the bottom, we have these rubber tripod feet that you can use. They're actually pretty sturdy. They have little rubber grippies at the bottom of them, so they grip really well. They're very well made, so I'm very satisfied with these tripods. I've used bad screw-in tripods before, where this kind of screws in and it's really wobbly. It's not stable, but this one here is good. The actual gimbal itself, starting from the bottom, you can see that here there's the Aircross 2 logo. This right here is plastic. It's well, sorry, actually, let me rephrase. This is plastic, but this right here is metal, and it actually feels pretty good. But as you're gripping it, you don't really grip it here. You grip it a little bit higher. So this right here is plastic, and it doesn't actually feel super high quality because the metal here is nice, and the back here is actually rubber. Feels nice to grip on, but up here you can actually see that it's actually plastic. Now the cool thing about this is that this grip, this rubber grip right here, is actually a battery pack. So if you pull down on this tab right here, you can pull down on that and the battery comes out just like so. And the cool thing is, as you can see, there's actually battery indicators, and this actually tells you how many, how much battery you have left. And you can actually charge this outside of the gimbal, and as you can see, it's really easy to remove. That's a USB-C. Finish charging it, stick it back in like so, and you're ready to go. Okay, moving up on the gimbal, you can see that on the front here you have some controls. This is like an iPod style wheel. This is it's supposed to be a record button, but that does extra things. You have your joystick to control the motion of the gimbal, and then on the side here you have a little wheel. This is actually for you to control focus, so that you can actually focus on you can actually control focus on your camera, but that requires a separate accessory, I believe. And that's your power button. Obviously, actually, I shouldn't have pressed that. And if we keep going here, we rotate, there's a screw mount there. And on this side, here we actually have a lock. And this lock here is actually so that it makes it easy for you to adjust things, because as you can see, it locks it right there. You can't move it. You unlock it, and boom, it moves again. So that's actually fairly useful. And if you open up this tab right here, I'm trying to because I just cut my nails, so it's really difficult to open, but anyway, you will see connections in there. And if you turn it all the way around, that's a trigger. Double press that for this to move to its proper location, and then if you triple press it, 1, 2, 3, this actually does a little rotate and puts it into selfie mode. So pretty good stuff. And again, moving up, we have the rest of the gimbal. You have more lock switches here, one more lock switch here, and this right here is going to be the place where you can put the quick connect there. All right, and now if I do turn this thing on, I'm gonna see that we've got some pretty good stuff here. Basically what this does, this is your joystick. So this controls the motion of your of your camera. And then this right here is actually kind of like an iPod scroll wheel, like I said before, and you can see those numbers going up and down there. Those numbers there is actually the strength of the gimbal, of the motor, sorry. So if the motor strength is higher, then it's basically more responsive. If the motor strength is less, then it is a lot less responsive, because the motor, they feed less power to it. So yeah, that's pretty easy. And then there's a couple of different functions here. As you can see, it says L. That means like not locked. Well, I don't know what L stands for, but it's basically not locked. So it basically just follows your thing around, and it doesn't really change direction. But if you do this, for example, and you see how it says F, that means follow, follow, and followed, which means that whatever direction you turn your tripod, the camera is going to follow as well, which is F for follow. And there's a couple of different modes, of course. There's inception mode. You do tap this 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Inception mode, and this basically rotates it a couple of different times. There's different settings. There's 180, where it rotates it 180 degrees and stops, 360 and stops, and normal, which basically just keeps rotating and it doesn't stop. So yep, there's that, and I'm just gonna stop it. And there's also, actually, you know what, let's just get out of here. Get out of here, get out of here. I actually don't remember how to get out of here. Oh, right. Oh yeah, and then there's this trigger mechanism over here. This basically sets it back to center mode, and you tap it 3 times and it goes back to selfie mode, and there's that. So that's the bulk of the main functions you're going to use. There's also a smartphone app that you can use that actually allows this to that you can control the motion of this from the app. You can even track objects, and it'll follow objects. So the only downside is that you do have to attach your phone on top of the camera so that it sees exactly what the camera sees. So, and this right here is your focus wheel, and this is actually for you to if you do have the accessory, you can actually connect it up to your camera, and you can actually control the focus of the camera from this point over here. And of course, you've got the cool RGB, which I think it's cool. If you guys don't, you can actually turn it off in the settings, but I'm going to leave it on because it looks cool for the videos. Okay, now we can talk about the app as well. Right here, the Moza Aircross app, you can actually use it to control your gimbal, and it's actually really easy, like really easy. You select that, you connect here, and you're basically done. And there you go, it's connected. You can see, battery level. There's a couple of functions that I probably won't go too much into detail with, but this app is actually fairly well developed. You can tap this, it goes to sleep. You tap that again, it wakes up from sleep. And probably the coolest thing here is going to be the remote control, which allows you to actually control the direction of the gimbal just using the direction of your phone, which is actually pretty sick. And of course, you can control lots and lots of gimbal settings from here. For example, you can control, motor, button, calibration, advanced settings, configurations. So all this stuff can be controlled from inside the app if you're one of those guys, or you need to control this remotely so you don't touch it. All of that is very possible. So I have to say that I'm very happy with Moza for including an app in this device, paired with this gimbal, and it actually works out pretty well. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the stabilization of the gimbal. Barring any sort of weird stuff that's happening, the gimbal actually works out pretty well. I've used the Feiyutech AK2000, I've used the Feiyutech G6, and I've also used the Weebill as well. And out of all these three, I will say that I think the Weebill actually has better stabilization than the Moza Aircross 2, but the Aircross 2 actually isn't that far off. It actually does fairly well. Most of the features that you want in here are good, but I will say that this gimbal is actually a lot easier to control than, let's say, the Feiyutech AK2000. That one was actually really hard to control, and that was actually my least favorite gimbal. Actually, a friend lent it to me to use, and honestly, it was really bad. Not only was it really bad at balancing, it also just didn't work very well. Not even accounting for the bad controls. Like here, it's really easy to control. Like if you don't do anything, you just turn it on. It defaults to unfollow, so it basically just stays in one spot and tries its best to keep train on one spot, which is nice. And then you can select options to make it follow and pan, and of course the trigger at the back, which you tap on and it automatically pan locks until you let go of it. Very, very useful. Honestly, very good for filming, and I actually like it quite a bit. All right, so just talking about all those things, there are downsides to this. The one thing I will say is that the motors here aren't super powerful. Even the AK2000 that I used before had more powerful motors than this. It's probably good, so this gimbal, it says it's good for up to 7 pounds. I would not put a 7-pound camera on here, maybe 4 pounds, 5 pounds at most. And this thing is probably already struggling at that point. 7 pounds is gonna be, that's like no safety factor straight from Moza's engineers. Like, yeah, don't put a 7-pound camera on here, or don't buy this thinking you can put a 7-pound camera easily on this device, because you probably can. And of course, if we're looking at other things as well, yeah. So all in all, I actually very much like the Aircross 2. I'm very surprised and impressed by the app function. The very least, is actually pretty cool. As you can see, I'm controlling the thing with my phone, but of course it's a little bit twitchy as well. So if you actually want to keep it steady, that's going to be a little bit difficult, but at the same time, it's pretty cool. So if you want to check out the Moza Aircross 2, be sure to check out the link in the description down below. Yeah, and let me know what you think down in the comments below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.